Good morning. My name is Ian Cresswell. I'm the Manufacturing Product Manager here with Passport Software. I want to spend a few minutes with you today going over why you may want to consider using our graphical user interface or our Windows user interface. Now, who is this targeted to? This is targeted to a traditional Passport user, somebody who's been using it for some time and using the character style or classic style screens. And it's also targeted to you folks who might be using older versions of the traditional RealWorld software, who are considering upgrading to Passport. The reason I want to spend a few minutes talking is this. Many people have made the argument, and I was once one of them, that a character style screen, that old DOS or UNIX look, is a more efficient way to do data entry. Now, I get why people thought that. I get why I thought that. What I found, though, was if a screen is designed well in a Windows environment and the flow of that screen is designed well, that doesn't have to be true. In fact, quite the opposite can be true. Now, I'm going to make a few arguments as to why I believe this to be true. So we're going to go through and look at a couple of examples. As the manufacturing product manager, I'm more familiar with the manufacturing product, clearly. So we're going to spend a little bit more time in that, I think, but we are also going to apply this to accounts receivable, accounts payable, so you can get an idea of what we're looking at and maybe apply it to something you're accustomed to. So don't let the fact that I'm in manufacturing intimidate you. We have solid standards across the board. And what's true in manufacturing is true in distribution, is true in accounting. So bear with me for a few minutes and let's go through this, and I think I can show you how you might become more efficient using the graphical user interface. All right, let's start with a screen that's traditionally very busy. We're going to start in the manufacturing because I got a perfect one to show you. Let's look at our item master. Now, IC has its own item master and has its own problems with the item master. There's a lot of data associated with an item that we need to be able to enter, maintain, and then see. We have these busy screens, right? As we look, we've got 31 fields that we can directly access, plus there's another 4 or 5 on this screen that don't have a number associated with it, which means we can't directly access them. There's an awful lot of information on this screen. It's very busy. Can we train our eye to find what we want? Sure we can. But we've got to really sort through minutia to get there. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter now at field number to change. And then we're going to say, yeah, we want to move to that next screen. Well, here's another screen of a lot of information. It's all related to cost to the manufactured item. All right, so we switch back to our graphical style screen, our Windows screen. And what do we see here? We see organization. Data has been organized in logical boxes and set off in these logical boxes, each box with its own little title. Makes it a little easier to pick up on our information. As we look at our cost screen, same concept. We've begun to organize things. Our sales data, again, same concept. We've begun to organize information more logically on the screen. Now you're going to notice that we're able to do that because we have a little bit more real estate to work with in the Windows environment. We have more control over how we lay out our information on a screen. We're not stuck in a traditional grid. We can actually do more on a single display. So as we look at this, I want you to take note at the very top of the screen, we have a built-in lookup. Most of your master files, in fact, I believe every master file in the application now, that it has a graphical style entry, that graphical style entry has a lookup built into it. So I can immediately start typing when I come in here looking for my item. I don't have to invoke a lookup. As I do so, you'll note that it starts to look for my item as I'm typing things in. Also take note that it's not case sensitive anymore. That started in the 12 series. We started to move away from that case sensitivity in our lookup screens. Another thing I want you to note, tabs. You saw me moving around on them. I can click on any one of these tabs and I can review the information on that tab. So I can look at my sales data for a given item. While I'm here, if I got to change something, just click edit. Go ahead and make your change and click save. Now the other thing to note here is in the traditional character style screen, in order to make a change, as I was just talking, we have to use our field number to change, go up to a field, change it, press enter to get back down to field number to change before we can move off and change something else. What happens if I want to make multiple changes to something? Let's take this as an example. We're going to click our edit button and we want to change our description because when we initially put this in, this was just a test item and now it's something real. So now we've added a real description. Well, what happens if maybe we want to add a sorting code to it? Well, it's a finished good, so we're going to select that. So we've now made 2 changes. And perhaps I want to keep some of these things in stock. So we're going to set a reorder level of 10 items for this particular item master. I've made 3 changes. Now we're going to click Save, and we're done. So we were able to effect 3 distinct changes. Now I'm not limited to just this screen while I'm in edit mode. I can bounce around. So while I was changing these, we'll add another one. We can scoot over to our sales data and maybe update our selling price. We're going to improve the efficiency of making changes to existing items, to existing sales orders, to existing purchase orders, customers, vendors, whatever it is you're working with. All right, let's continue this conversation now, and let's move into an area where we start discussing the difference between what we call event-driven data entry versus a traditional sequential data entry. Now, why do we care? Well, really, we care because this is where we can pick up efficiency. We're going to scoot over to our traditional style screen here. As I'm in this traditional style screen, I'm being prompted for an order, okay? There's nothing on my display other than what we call the literals. Those are the descriptions of the various fields on the screen. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the entry process for a sales order. Count keystrokes with me. That was 1. There's 2. There's 3. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to give it a customer, and we'll use our lookup even, right? Because we're going to use our lookup in the graphical. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Give it a purchase order. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 times I had to hit my enter key. 15 times just to get through a sales order header. Now this doesn't include our line items and so on. So we're going to cancel that. We're going to switch back to our Windows style screen, and we're going to try again. So we're going to click New. We're going to use our lookup. We're going to select our customer. We're going to give it a purchase order number. We're going to click Save, and we're done. So we're able to kill a number of keystrokes instead of having to go through 15 individual fields. We're able to get through what? 4? 3? Click Save, and we're off. This is where we pick up our efficiency. Now, what's going to happen is this. A lot of the users making that initial transition, what they will do is they will go ahead and click New, and then they start pounding away through these fields just like they would otherwise. And guess what? I will be no more efficient if that's the way I'm going to approach my data entry in the graphical environment, because I'm still forced to move through every individual field on this display. I don't have to. Why don't I have to? Well, because in the Windows environment, this is event-driven. What do I mean by that? When an event occurs, we make some assumptions and we try and do something, and we try to anticipate as much as possible what it is you're trying to do as a user. So when I click New to start another new order, notice that we've already defaulted some fields. We assume you're entering an order as opposed to a credit memo or perhaps an invoice. We also assume that the order originated by the customer, and that can change. We can drop that down and change that. We assume a required ship date. That's in the manufacturing system anyhow. That's based on a setting and a control file. And we make some other basic assumptions here. Okay, so unless these change, I don't have to touch these fields. They're already filled in for me. So now we're going to do like we did before. We'll use our lookup, and we'll select our Elliott Enterprises. And now I want you to note this. We just filled in almost the rest of this screen. Now from the customer file, we brought in their customer's data, right? We also defaulted our ship to their bill to. We have defaulted our sales rep, tax code, terms code. I guess the rest of it had already been defaulted. So at this point, I have one field that I have to input something into, and that would be my customer PO. Why do I have to? It's a required field. How do I know that? It's blue. The black fields are not required. Blue fields are. If it's blue, it requires something. Now, in some cases, leaving it blank is a valid option. Again, the idea here is we have just given you the ability to shortcut most of that screen as opposed to having to go through and do each individual field. Again, as I say, if you choose to stay on your keyboard, you're going to continue pounding through those. You're not going to pick up any additional efficiency. Retrain your hands a little bit. You should be able to enter orders significantly faster. It goes to show you that we can indeed become more efficient once we retrain our hands a little bit, even doing straight up data entry. All right, so let's go a step further, because there's another really important thing that we can do to improve our efficiency as a user. And now we're going to go over and spend a few minutes in the accounting to show you this. If we're using payables, and most all of us are, we're working with our payables enter or our vouchering, right? Vendor sends us an invoice. We need to voucher that invoice so that we can pay it. And we're going to do that over here in payables. Well, first we have to enter it. So we're going to go ahead and use the new graphical screens to do so. So we'll click new. We're going to select our vendor. I could have entered it if I knew who they were. We'll go find our Vermont Metal Products. Now note, PO number, it's a black field. So is receiver numbers. They're not required. If I have them, I enter them. If I don't, fine. Invoice number is required, so we have to provide an invoice number. Let's give it one. Invoice amount is also. So we're going to give it an invoice amount of $10. Now you'll note that I was using my mouse to navigate these as opposed to pounding through. I'm done. I click save. If my account is correct, I click save. I click exit. My voucher's in. Now let's slow that down a little bit. Click new. Again, we're going to use our lookup. Resort. All right, so we've now set our vendor. Again, I'm going to click down here on invoice number. I'm going to click on amount. We're going to hit tab. And unlike today in the traditional character style screen, where you have to continue pounding down until you get to the point where you can finally hit F1 to accept defaults, we assume you want those defaults, so we bring them in. You can change it if you need to. If we don't need to change them, the defaults are already there for us. We don't have to change anything. So once we're done, again, we click save. If we know we're going to enter another voucher and we're done with this one, click save new. Save new sets us up to enter another one as soon as it's done saving this one. Show you how that works. So again, now let's say I got to change my account number. So we're actually going to put this one against parts. Now I click save. I never touched my keyboard. Distribution's all set to go. I can see that here. Click exit. I'm back, and now it started me getting ready to enter another voucher on this other screen. So now we'll grab Joe's Manufacturing. We have now entered 3 vouchers. Now understand, I almost never touch this stuff. I can knock these things in all day long, and I can knock them in quickly. Why? Because the screens are very intuitive. They're easier to navigate now. So at this point, what do we need to do, right? We need to go ahead and we need to print our edit list. Now to do that, we got to go back to our menu, right? We got to go find our edit list printing program. Not anymore. This is what I like to call smart links. That's an EN term, not necessarily a passport term. Smart links allow us to do other things. I'm no longer stuck moving back to the menu to go do something else. I can print my edit list right from here. And we're going to view it as a PDF, even better. So as I view this, there's the 3 vouchers that we just entered. And then our summary screen on the next page. So it shows us our total impact, all the accounts we're going to hit and so forth. I can print it, I can save it, I can email it, I can do whatever I need to with it now. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and exit and move back, because now we got to go back to the menu and we got to post these, right? Nah, not really. We just come up here to the options and select post. Select where we would like to print. We'll send that to disk. Off she goes. Our posting is complete. What we're doing here is introducing the ability to do more from a single place, right? We took a look at our payables, enter. We're able to do the entire task from one screen. Now, we're going to go into the vendor. This is our vendor entry screen. But what we can also do is we can also do other things from here. Okay? So if we take we'll use that vendor we were just playing around with, Vermont Metal Products. If we take this vendor and we want to do other things such as view their open items, well, select options, view their open items. Here's a list of all their open items current. What if I want to go ahead and I want to view their invoices? Well, drop down the options here. View their invoices. Change the vendor and view somebody else's invoices if that's what you need to do. Click down here, you can view their distribution history. The idea here is we're no longer married to that menu. We have some ability to function within a task inside the program itself. So we can actually maneuver around and increase our efficiency dramatically once we get accustomed to doing that. So we can quickly and easily get at data, quickly and easily get things entered into the system. And in some areas, we're even starting to break down the walls between the modules. What do I mean by that? We're giving the ability to call programs in a different module from some of these smart links. Why are we doing that? Because we're trying to take these tasks and make them more efficient by giving you access to the various programs related to the task from one place. So, do you have to move to the graphical user interface? No. Should you move to the graphical user interface? Really? That's up to you. We're not going to tell you that you have to move there, but we are going to encourage you to explore it, because I believe that you're going to find you can become far more efficient in the graphical user interface, or a traditional Windows style interface. And if you're using Unix or Linux and you would like to be able to do some of the things you saw us doing just now, no problem. Talk to your partner, have them pick up a thin client for your Windows workstations, and you two can have the same user interface that you've seen here and retain the stability of your Unix or Linux server on the back end.